Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a round of applause for our moderator, Mr. Thomas Zhu. Joining Thomas on stage are our panelists, Ms. Rita Liu, CEO RD Technologies. Round of applause. Dr. Anthony Ng, co-founder and CEO, Hong Kong Virtual Asset Exchange. Welcome. Mr. Teddy Liu, Vice President, JD Technology. Welcome. Last but not least, we have Mr. Kevin Loo, CEO DigiFT HK. Welcome our speakers. Big round of applause for them again. And now I'll pass the floor to our moderator, Thomas. Thomas, over to you now.
Thank you, our host, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to our RWA panel today. My name is Thomas Zhu. I'm the founder of Asia RWA Workgroup and the head of digital assets at China Asset Management Hong Kong. So first of all, it is my great pleasure to introduce our honorable guest speakers today, who have achieved many accomplishments in their fields, and we will listen to their stories shortly. So first, I'll pass the mic to Ms. Rita Liu, who is the CEO of RD Technology. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Thomas. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Rita, CEO of RD Technologies. RD's vision is to bridge Web 2 and 3 with technologies. We are launching a trustworthy, compliant, transparent stablecoin pegged to Hong Kong dollar under the regulatory framework of Hong Kong MA, hopefully soon. And also, we have a SVF licensed fiat wallet servicing Web3 community as well. Very nice to be here. Looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Liu. Next, please, Dr. Anthony Ng, who is a co-founder and CEO of Hong Kong Virtual Asset Exchange, HKVAX. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me thank you, everyone in the stage. Well, thanks for staying with us. After 2 long days conference, you're still here with us. Initially, when I accepted the invitation, I felt like at around 4 something Saturday afternoon, I will have probably less than 20 audience in this hall. But then, 多謝各位仲喺度同我哋一齊喺個星期六晏晝咁。希望同大家可以分享一啲比較有用嘅資訊，感謝大家還是跟我們在一起。我是Anthony, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hong Kong Virtual Asset Exchange, HKVAX. As you know, we were the first batch of applicants on Hong Kong Virtual Asset VATP license from SFC, and we got the approval in principle from SFC and waiting for the license to be out very soon.
Thank you, Anthony. Next, Mr. Teddy Liu, Vice President of JD Technology.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Teddy, come from the JD Technology. I'm in charge of the international financial business. So I'm very glad to be invited to join this meeting. And I have been engaged to mobile payment nearly 20 years. So I work for Tencent, Huawei, and this company is as a person in charge of the mobile payment business. So I'm also the co-founder of the virtual payment, the KVJ payment. So I'm have been committed to prove the development of the inclusive finance through the fintech and the service. So right now, I'm very happy to help to share and to learn and study, discuss with everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teddy. Last but not least, Mr. Kevin Loo, CEO of DigiFT Hong Kong.
Thank you, Thomas. So, pleasure to be here, again, being on stage, and again, also thank you very much to Cyberport, Invest HK, Hong Kong government to organizing this event. So for those that don't know me, I'm actually been in the crypto industry since 2017, one of the first financial professionals to be involved, advocating for professional standards. Back then, I couldn't get director's insurance when I raised my first fund. I couldn't get like legal opinion about sort of running sort of crypto assets. And the industry's obviously come a long way from here, right? And we're up here today to talk about real-world assets, STOs, And this industry has kind of grown beyond even what I thought it actually could have done so from that. But a little bit about me and my background. So institutional asset management, working with the likes of BNP Paribas, PIMCO, and Fidelity. Right now, I am the CEO of Hong Kong for DigiFT, a licensed and regulated MAS, Tier 1 regional regulated RWA platform. So just to kind of give some context, we're allowed to do a few things. We're authorized by the MAS to issue on-chain STOs. That's through ERC 20. We also allowed and authorized to run an AMM smart contract and be non-custodial for clients who are KYC'd and AML'd to be able to transact with our smart contract directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So each guest speakers just introduce themselves, their companies, and what they are doing. So let's dive into the questions. So the first question is, what opportunities do technological advances in the Asian RWA industry for your practitioners? For example, we have a stablecoin representative today, we have exchanges representative today, and also the asset issuers today. So from your own perspective, what do you think how to practice the RWA in the Asian market, especially in Hong Kong? So maybe the first question to Teddy.
Thank you. Yes, as we know, the RWA is a very hot topic recently, right? With the good development of the technology, something like the digital ID and blockchains and privacy protection technologies and so on, I think have a lot of opportunities for these sectors. So I think the first is for the stablecoin issues. For stablecoin issues, they can expand in more traditional financials, like real estate, credit and trade financials, and broadening their market scope and training more users and chaining the value. And moreover, the stablecoin issues can develop the new innovative products such as the stablecoin backed by the RWA and the RWA-based lending service and investment product. And all of these, the product, they'll be needed to within the regulation, the regulation. And the second is for the exchange. For the exchange is on the supply side, exchange can involve the more tokenized product linked to the RWA, the offering device of the product. On the demand side, I think the RWA just like a bridge. The RWA provide a bridge to help the traditional investor to enter the crypto market. So this is very important. And additionally, RWA can also increase the market depth with help improve the efficiency and reduce the slip page. And they can also use the exchange can also use the RWA to develop the new product. For example, structures the product as well as providing the new financial service. And the last is for the asset issues. Asset issues is an enhancement in the liquidity. The tokenized assets are easier to buy and sell in the market. And on the other hand, we can say that the issuers can very convenient to raise the fund on the blockchain and reduce the cost, burn the channel very around. So also they can through this way to attract the global investor, and also they can expand the market and influence. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy, for sharing his perspective on why stablecoin is a beneficial to the bigger Web3 community, on the liquidity perspective, on the investor perspective. And the same question to Rita, as RD is one of the pioneer in the stablecoin operator or issuer. What's your view in terms of the operating that in Asia, operating that in Hong Kong? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. I think, back to your first question, besides actually technological innovation, I mean, like we all know, Hong Kong used to be, actually was one of the first crypto hubs in the world, right? There are lots of technologists, entrepreneurs based here, blockchain technology being around for over 15 years. And, I think there's, in terms of technology, I think we have lots happening. But, we need to, for the industry, I think one thing important is what's the use case? What more can we bring into the industry? I always say, how can we make the cake bigger? How can we bring more Web 2 volume into Web 3, right? That's what Hong Kong can offer from a few points. One is regulation. So Hong Kong is leading the charge in the world in terms of the overall crypto regulation from various aspects, right? Exchanges, stablecoin, STOs, all kinds of different aspects. So Hong Kong is leading the charge on that. Regulation is key because after the past few cycles, we all know we cannot handle another scandal. We cannot handle another fraud. We need a more transparent players under a smart and reasonable regulatory framework. So that's very important, and Hong Kong is leading the charge. And second, Hong Kong's strategic position in the world as the traditional financial center and traditional trading center. So that's also quite key, especially for stablecoin. I always talk about the payment use case because part of my past experience is payment. Lots of payment volume, global payment volumes flow through this region because here we service the biggest export market in the world. So stablecoin, can play a much bigger role in that area by providing faster and cheaper infrastructure. So that's another sort of thing going for Hong Kong, which is the strategic position Hong Kong has. But ultimately, I think as a potential stablecoin issuer, we believe bringing to the market a compliant, trustworthy, transparent stablecoin is super key. It's very key for the market to get bigger than it is now. It definitely has the potential to become even bigger, but we need the market is hungry for a transparent option, and also a player that can connect the two worlds, the two parallel worlds, the Web 2 and the Web 3. So I think, so we're very lucky to be in this right place and right time to offer that to the market.
Thank you, Rita, mentioning about the transparency and also be a connector for the Web3. And another connector in the industry is obviously very clear, that is exchange. Anthony, so as the third exchange getting a AIP license, operating in potentially to launch that hopefully soon, what's your perspective in exchange playing the ecosystem in Hong Kong? Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Basically, normally I would share with everyone on what kind of products we can have in the market. To begin with virtual asset, we have media of exchange, meaning stable, non-stable coins. And then the second thing would be somewhat like the entitlement of a membership or services, that what we used to be called a utility token, ICO. And the third part would be more like investment products, including all the digital asset or security token, and now the most popular RWAs. As you may aware that like SFC, they issued two circulars, November 2nd, 2023, a couple months ago. They issued two particular circulars to let us know that for all SFC authorized product, you can tokenize already. It's legitimate, it's legal, that you can do that. A little bit more than that, I believe the regulators, they are very open-minded in terms of what we can tokenize, as we all know, and a lot of like people talking in the market saying that we can tokenize everything. And yeah, potentially we can do that, but we need to be very careful on what kind of things fall into which kind of category that you are going to do. So SFC gave us pretty good, clear guideline that traditional financial product, just do it. But then something in between or interesting, like digital asset, like the weapons you played in the game, can we tokenize that? Or we need to spend some time to understand the requirements. And or there are a lot of like potential products we can tokenize. For example, funds. Can we use a fund to put all the antiques in it and or fine arts in it and then tokenize it to be unitized and distribute it? Potentially, yes. And also a little bit more creative kind of products. Can we tokenize IP, intangible and or intellectual properties? Potentially, yes. And can we tokenize revenues-based financing? Our friend like Michael Connect, what they're doing. Can we tokenize it? Potentially, yes. And a little bit more in terms of what the morning section, the presenter present, data is variable. And yet, can we tokenize data as an asset potentially distributed on a virtual asset exchange? We think it's possible. But then the requirements are not there that we need all the market stakeholders, participants, including all of us here. Of course, Stablecoins from RD and our friends JD, and potentially a little bit more creative apart from centralized exchange like us, Hong Kong Virtual Asset Exchange, HKVAX. We have like distributed exchange, DeFi exchange. Maybe a little bit later, Kevin can share a little bit more with all the audience.
Thank you, Anthony, and to give us a lot of opportunities and creativities in terms of what assets can be tokenized, and look forward to the launch of HKVAX. And then next question is to Kevin. And obviously, Web3 is not only in Hong Kong, it's a global perspective. And as the first licensed DeFi exchange focused on RWA, what's your take in terms of launching that product and succeeding in the market, and also to grow the RWA ecosystem? Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So there's a bit to unpack there, but also I want to also just leverage on what Anthony and Rita have kind of said. So yes, we're effectively a regulated DEX by Singapore MAS, and we'll also be looking to apply for a license here in Hong Kong. The main point there is that RWAs can fit into sort of two categories specifically, right? There's going to be securities and non-securities. We're very much, DigiFT is very much focused on the securities part of the business. So pretty much similar here in Hong Kong, where the SFC says same business, same risk, right? So if you tokenize an equity, tokenize a bond, you have to effectively follow the KYC suitability and eligibility and risk management guidelines as guided by securities. So in that case, securities law both in Hong Kong and Singapore are actually fairly similar. There are deviations, but 80% of it is probably similar, with 20% which is slightly deviate. The one thing I would say is that a successful Hong Kong is very important to make a very successful Singapore, and vice versa, because these markets, as they stand right now, are actually too small to sort of coexist. Too small to exist by themselves, but equally also the liquidity profile, just like any good network, and let's face it, what we're talking about is tech underlying this, is that you need to be able to kind of create and combine liquidity together. So that's just one sort of comment I would make. The other comment I would make is, so what we've done is we are effectively a bridge between Web 2 investors and Web 3 investors. It's a bit of an overstated kind of comment that's put out there. But I would actually sort of say that DigiFT is very much focused on that. So as an example, very firm example, Web3 investors, we've tokenized T-bills, direct underlying securities, and we've issued those T-bills on-chain, right? Another thing we've done, just announced this last week, we work with CSOP, we've tokenized their money market funds, so working with Rita's group and others. Stablecoin issuers, they have a reserve, they need yield, they need to be able to come to a safe and compliant place to be able to earn that yield, right? They can come to us. We also work with guys like hedge fund managers. If they're doing fast money trades, they want to be in Bitcoin, they want to be out. Do they go back to stablecoins? Do they just sit there and earn zero? No, they can come to us and we can help them earn some yield until they want to be back into the market to put on some sort of high velocity trade that they're interested in. And then finally also with that, you know, people also talk about, yeah, you can tokenize everything. This technically is true. That said, would you actually want to tokenize if you're a private real estate company right now with a private real estate let's say fund in New York, do you really want price discovery on your book? You're carrying your assets at book. You probably don't want price discovery. You probably, you know, if you get price discovery, you're going to mark your book down by 30%. So very much our strategy is not really to focus on things that are hard to price, but rather things that are easy to price, things that can sell themselves. Because although we're a successful organization, our bandwidth to be able to educate ourselves about an asset, to educate our clients about an asset, is very tough. And then you've got another question about client retention, about what else do you get them into. So we typically focus on highly liquid, high velocity public assets that are easy to explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. You mentioned about education. I think that is one challenge for investors in the space to understand the underlying asset and also the tokenization format. So what are the challenges from the RWA practice perspective that our speakers face? Maybe Rita, you want to share a little bit of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think on the other panel 1 week ago, we talked about the same question, but I think a few things. One is, of course, education, whether it's for, you know, the mass market individual retail customers or for the institutional market. You know, like education is key, right? Because, you know, it's a new world, and, you know, there are different ways of doing things. To connect to the two worlds is to educate actually both sides, right? Like to understand each other, to make two sides talk to each other, interact with each other. So I think that's one thing. And second, I think I mentioned the other day is that you know, like we all are looking forward to the regulation, you know, because that's what we all agree is the market needs. But, you know, as we shape, you know, more and more regulatory framework in the market, we also hope that, you know, you know, we will have smart regulation, right, where the regulated and compliant players can prosper, right, and the non-compliant players will be filtered out, right? So I think that's also quite key. That's not a challenge, but it's something worth mentioning. And the third one, I also mentioned the other day is probably talent. I think, you know, for Hong Kong or for this region in general, I think you know, talent, you know, to connect to the two worlds, you know, back to what Kevin was saying, right? Connecting Web 2 and 3 is a probably overstated comment. You know, everyone wants to do that, but how to do that? People, right? We need people who understands the two worlds, who can make the two worlds talk to each other and can find pain points in two worlds so that we can create solutions by connecting the two worlds to solve the pain points. Because we're not bringing Web 2 to Web 3 for the sake of bringing it, right? We're actually bringing it to Web 3 because it can solve some problems. On the tokenization front, Thomas, you would very much know better than me that, you know, why lots of, you know, traditional asset managers want to tokenize asset, right? For better efficiency and bigger market, right? For stablecoin, for example, like on the payment front, on the payment use case, because it's faster and cheaper, it's a no-brainer. So I think, you know, like we also need talents who understands the two worlds to find pain points and, you know, find solutions to solve those pain points. So I think that's another challenge. I think, you know, we're seeing more and more people. I was probably, you know, most people on this stage are coming from traditional industry and bringing two worlds together. So I think we would definitely see more and more talents going into the space, connecting the two worlds.
Yeah, thank you, Rita. I think thanks to Cyberport for hosting such events to educate more people and more talents, eventually can bridge the Web 2 and Web 3. Similar question to Anthony. Maybe you can share a little bit from your perspective on some of the challenges you are facing and how do you overcome those? Thank you.
Cool. I believe I share a little bit quick, and you guys will understand. One is that entitlement. The second one would be custodian and delivery. We are talking about RWA. For example, we issue a token entitled to a car electronically by using blockchain. After you pay by stablecoin from Audi, then you're entitled to the car on the virtual asset, or you're entitled to a token right away in a second. But then you haven't registered with the transportation department, meaning that the physical product you're not entitled. So there's a gap or time lag between electronically entitlement versus the real product entitlement. In addition to that, there's a delivery thing. After you entitle it, I want to get the car. Whether you go and get the car or someone deliver to you by Jingdong, I don't know. But then there's a gap we have to think of. If eventually we can use blockchain, RWA for entitlement, you receive a virtual asset entitled to a car, then how should we do the custodian for the physical product? And also how to do the delivery of the physical product, and also the entitlement. There would be some room for the lawyers to investigate the law, whether we can use red tag something, and once after electronically the blockchain entitlement transfer, then legally the entitlement also transfer. That kind of gap, I believe that these two challenges are still not yet resolved at this point.
Thank you, Anthony. You're mentioning about some of the uncertainties, right, in many of the areas. But uncertainties always create opportunities. And for those who are prepared, I think those are great opportunities in Hong Kong or in the world to practice the RWA. And given the time, so maybe each one of you can share a little bit about your future perspective and what's next on your agenda in terms of pushing the RWA or pushing your own firm's agenda and the strategies. Maybe we'll start from Kevin, please.
Sure, I'll make it very quick. Right, one, we want to work with our competition. We want to be able to grow as an advocate for this industry for quite a while. I think the thing is that also Rita said is that we can't afford another scandal, right? So regulation is critical, but regulation doesn't guarantee that you're going to make money, right? Or necessarily get diversification. So I think the one thing is that we want to grow with our partners, want to grow with the competition. We want this industry to be a lot more legitimate. The other thing I want to be able to say is that some of the challenges that we've obviously faced, I mentioned that when I first started in the early industry, I couldn't get legal opinion, I couldn't get director's insurance. Today, as it stands, we are audited by PwC, right? That's kind of unheard of. Citigroup is our CDS, our securities depository, and also legal-wise, we're guided by Dentons, right? So we thank them for so we've been able to solve that, but also what is kind of like still one of the hurdles and challenges that we're going to be able to still address, even though we can sort of say, yeah, great, we've got like real-time settlement, we've got T+0 kind of tradability, 24/7 liquidity, because we are focused on the securities world, our counterparties aren't able to move as fast as what we can. So Citi, call them up, 2 days, settlement. Speak to DBS, 2 days, settlement. So you're looking at a T+4 settlement for securities. Once it gets done, of course, yeah, now it works in the blockchain and can trade in a very high velocity manner. But in terms of getting on-ramp, off-ramp, you're going to face a bit of a delay. So I think going forward, we want to be able to show success cases for our partners at an institutional blue chip level that we are the partners to work with to kind of reduce that T+4 to effectively a T+0. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Pretty technical, but shorten the time. Teddy, please.
Thank you, Thomas. And I think this RWA or Web3 will be faced a lot of the big challenge in the future, but As an international financial center, Hong Kong have a strategical location and very clearly regulation and physical prices and metro the financial market. I think it is either the market to promote the Web3 and RWA industry. So we are looking forward to for working with each other and to contribute the Hong Kong's Web3 industry in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie, for your contribution. Anthony, please.
Well, again, Saturday afternoon, as you see a lot of audience here, we are over eager to make Web3 things happening in Hong Kong. And yet, I believe there's nothing we have to look behind. We have to look forward and see what kind of things we can do. We need to get our hands dirty. We should not be focusing on the theories. Let's try. Let's take a project. Let's take a company. Or let's take whatever and try to tokenize it and see whether it passes through the listing requirement from the exchanges, and then we submit to SFC for their approval and proof of concept, and let the first product to be out for a particular area like IP or commodities or data, whatever I mentioned before. Proof of concept, make the first project happening in Hong Kong, being the first one in the world, and make Web3 innovative happening in Hong Kong.
Thank you, Anthony. Learn from the history and walk the talk. Last but not least, Rita.
Thank you. I look forward to work with our partners, including, like Kevin said, including our competitors, to make the cake bigger, and also work with government bodies and regulators to really contribute to the vision of Hong Kong to become a Web3 hub in the world. And secondly, on stablecoins specifically, I think I look forward to really drive that vision of like financial inclusion, what we always say, but like with stablecoin or blockchain technology really has the potential to do that, so that everyone and in any corner of the world can send money to another person in another corner of the world with like seconds of time needed and not paying 20% of the fees, so that we can really drive that financial inclusion in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Save money, save time. So please give a round of applause to our great, thoughtful leaders and our panelists today, and let's build a stronger global Web3 hub in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you. A fabulous discussion. Thank you so much. Please remain on stage for a photo together. With our panelists and moderator, please stand closer together for a photo. And let's smile at the camera in the front, at our official photographer in the middle when you're ready. All right. With our speakers, please look at the camera in the front. Ready? 1, 2, 3, big smile. Let's do a thumbs up. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. Let's give it up for our panelists and our moderator again.